Have you ever been around that Eeyore type of person? You know, that person who, nothing ever goes my way. Well, she's probably going to dump me. Women are freaks. I don't like being around them. I always start dating them and they're crazy. I'm going to be single the rest of my life. The funny thing about those people is that one of the common themes is most of them don't have good boundaries. They just don't. And what does that mean? It means they don't have good relationships. Boundaries are one of the keys to having good, healthy relationships, because with boundaries, it's not that you're building a wall to keep people out. What you're actually doing is creating a place to have closer relationships. That's what boundaries do. They protect the relationship. And you'll be amazed that as you get better at your boundaries, your relationships will get deeper and you're going to thrive in your life. So let's talk about it on today's show. Hey guys, I'm David Maxwell from ThrivingMan.com, where we help you conquer your everyday chaos and live a thriving life. And we're doing a series on boundaries and what they mean to us as men, how they help us, what they do with us. And today we're focusing on the relational aspect of those, how boundaries help you in your relationships. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about relationships with women, whether you're dating or married, relationships with your kids, if you're a dad, and even relationships at work with coworkers, with your boss. Boundaries help you in every area. So let's jump in and talk about it. The first thing we want to talk about is boundaries in our three key relationships. Boundaries help us in our three key relationships, which is our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with our tribe, and then our relationship with others, people outside. And that's an easy thing to understand. So we're going to hit each one real quick. Now, when it comes to relationship with self, we've kind of talked about that in our first episode. So if you didn't watch that, go back and see it. But it's about how you individually have to start building your own boundaries, which means you've got to build your own foundations as a man. You've got to know what you believe, why you believe it. So as you build your foundations, then you can begin to build your boundaries. No foundation means no boundaries. If you don't have good boundaries, you're not going to have good relationships. And one of those relationships that won't be good is you with yourself. You won't like yourself. You won't be able to grow. You won't even believe in yourself anymore. A lot of that comes out of not having boundaries, which comes from not having a foundation. You don't know why you're here. You don't know what your life's all about. There's no inner conviction. So start with that. Start building boundaries with self by starting to build your own foundation. Know what you believe, why you believe it, why you're here on earth. Figure that stuff out. I think you should go to the Bible to do it. It's the answer book for us all. But that's where you can start building that foundation. Then you can start building your boundaries. It starts within and then it flows from there. From there, boundaries help our relationships with others, with our tribe and people outside. And that's where the rubber meets the road of boundaries. When you're in a relationship with a woman, you set boundaries, what you do, what you don't do, how you communicate, how you talk. Things like that. Who's responsible for what? That's all about setting boundaries. That's the rubber meets the road part of life. And what that does, boundaries give you a way to clearly define expectations. What do you expect from me? What do you need from me? What do I expect from you? What do I need from you? When you can communicate that clearly, your relationships are going to be fantastic because you'll be able to do that at work. You'll be able to do that at home. You'll have much better relationships with women because they know what to expect because you're communicating that to them. If you don't say it and you expect them to read their mind, you're going to be disappointed. And the reason this helps you with your relationship with others is you'll be more consistent. When you have clear boundaries, you communicate them, you show what's expected, then other people are going to see a consistency in you. You're going to be the same person all the time. You're not going to be that moody person who's up and down. You're not going to be that boss who tells you one thing but tells someone else another thing. Nobody likes that guy. You don't want to be that guy. What you want to do is be a person who's consistent. When you have a foundation, you build up your boundaries, you communicate those boundaries with others, you set expectations, you're going to be Mr. Consistent. And what does that mean? Deeper relationships, You're going to do better at work. All of those things come out of your boundaries. That's why it's so important. And with that, you're going to be able to bring your best self to every relationship. And that's the key of the boundary, is you'll be able to be your best self. You'll be able to bring that to relationships with women. You'll be able to bring that as a dad to your children, to your family members, to your friends, to your coworkers, your boss. You'll be able to bring your best self. That's why boundaries help you succeed in life, because it helps you bring that best self, because you know who that self is. You know what to expect. And you've built those things in your life that help you bring that best self. Just like sleep. Some people need to get a certain amount of sleep each night. When you build your boundaries so you get that sleep at night, what happens? You become much nicer to be around. You become a person people like because you're not crabby. You're not moody. Why? Because you have those boundaries about your sleep. And that's important to understand. And that authenticity is what will attract people to you. That authenticity will help you succeed at work. It'll help you in relationships. And that's why boundaries with other people is so important. It starts with yourself, but then it flows out to other people. Boundaries also help us have healthy relationships, because there's a power in healthy communication. When you have healthy communication with others, there's power in that relationship. That's what a boundary is. A boundary is a form of healthy communication, because when you establish the boundary, you communicate that boundary, you're being healthy. And what's going to happen is you're going to encourage healthy relationships where you and whoever you're communicating with have a good relationship together. That's what healthy communication is. That's what a boundary is. A boundary is a proactive way of telling people what you want, what you need, what's expected. And they do the same thing to you. And so what happens with that is you're building that healthy connection, which makes for a much stronger relationship. And the problem is when there's no boundaries, then it gets into emotional outbursts or passive aggressive digs or just straight anger. Those things come out when people don't have boundaries because they feel things, they don't know how to communicate that, so they get angry, they get full of rage, or they go passive aggressive. You've seen it, you've probably been the victim of it, you've probably been the person who does it. That's when you don't have boundaries. But when you have boundaries, you're communicating without all the emotions, and so people see that authenticity and that consistency in you, and they'll be attracted to it. And people say, well, if I set a boundary, isn't that being a jerk? Telling people what I'm not going to do? Actually, no, it's the opposite. When you set a boundary, you're not being a jerk. You're keeping yourself from becoming a jerk. Because what happens when someone doesn't have a boundary, they wait till they get mad. Then they explode on someone. That's being a jerk. Because the other person's going, wait a minute, I just asked if you wanted to come over to the house. Why did you explode on me? Well, the person exploded because they're upset about 5 different things before that they never talked about. That's what being a jerk is. When you set a boundary, you're not being a jerk, you're being the opposite. You're being an adult. You're being someone who communicates, and that's going to make for more effective relationships. That's why boundaries are healthy communication. Which brings us to the last thing. True connection happens within boundaries. You see, without boundaries, you really aren't going to connect with people that strongly. But within boundaries, you always will make stronger connections. Now, let me illustrate that in a way we can all understand. I live in a house. I'm in my house right now. This is my office in the house. It has walls, undecorated walls right now. We're working on that. But I have walls. My wife and I live in this house. This is where we connect. This is where we spend time together. It's in our place. We're not over at the neighbor's house trying to connect. We're not in our neighbor's yard trying to connect. We're in our house. We make our memories here. We hang out here. We have fun here. If we're sad together here. All of those things happen within the boundary of this house. Your life is the same way. You set up walls. You set up boundaries. Within that context, that's where the relationships can thrive. Without boundaries, life becomes a free-for-all of people just doing what they feel. And at one moment, they may feel this. They may be people-pleasing in another moment. All of these things can happen without boundaries. But when you have boundaries, you create a place of safety, a place of security, and that's where relationships flourish. A relationship with boundaries is powerful because it helps you build a relationship with honesty, openness, and mutual respect. And that's the really strong part of a relationship. And that's going to build an intimacy you have with other people and an authenticity that people will love, and people will love to be around you. So remember that boundaries are vital for every strong relationship. The relationship with yourself, the relationship with your tribe, those around you that are close, and relationship with others, anybody outside of you. And you want to grow those boundaries. So remember that boundaries aren't something you set one time and then never change. It's just like a house. You buy one house, but eventually you need another house, maybe a bigger house or a different house. Boundaries are the same thing. As you grow on your journey, your boundaries may grow. Your boundaries may change a little bit, but that's okay, because within those boundaries, you're going to have those healthy, strong relationships. And that's what you want. That's why you want to build those boundaries in your life. So this week, I want you to think about relationships in your life. And is there one that maybe has some blockage? Maybe it's not been that strong. Maybe it's a relationship you need to bring some boundaries to. Maybe it's you communicating what you expect, or letting them communicate their expectations, or having that dialogue about it. Maybe try that with just one relationship and see what happens. And you'll see the power of that relationship grow, and you'll have a deeper connection with that person. And then you get better at it, and you can have it with everybody. Hey, if you need some resources to help you to continue to grow as a man, check out thrivingman.com. We help you with all kinds of things, from the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, because we want you to thrive in your life. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Thriving Man Podcast. If you want to check out more resources from David and Reese, you can go to thrivingman.com. We'll see you in the next episode.